Okay, let's talk about aesthetics in general. I entitled this whole section really aesthetics because it's broader than just philosophy of art, but the book focuses on philosophy of art. The reason aesthetics takes on a little bit broader scope is because it's a branch of philosophy that examines the nature of art and the character of our experience of art, as well as the natural environment. Okay, so depending on your worldview, if you have an atheistic worldview, then you might not call things in the world artistic, right? But you can call them beautiful. See what I'm saying? Trees. Anybody ever not seen a beautiful tree? You think all trees are ugly? Okay, even if they're ugly, that's an aesthetic judgment. That is ugly. And I've seen ugly, I've seen ugly. And I've seen beautiful trees, and I've seen really ugly trees. I want to cut one of them down. It's in my yard. But, these are aesthetic judgments. These are judgments about beauty or the lack thereof, aren't they? Now, do animals have these kinds of judgments? This is a question that we can go, I don't know if dogs go, oh, that's a beautiful sculpture. I'm not sure that they do that. They go, that smells good. I want to eat that. Okay. All right. So these are things that seem to be a unique quality for human beings, judging beauty, or again the lack of it. Okay. But aesthetics as a whole goes beyond just philosophy of art, because art, remember, is something that's been done. So far we've come up with it's an intentional product of a human being. All right. The natural environment is not a natural product of a human being. So we can talk about nature and beauty and still fit within that realm of aesthetics and be outside the philosophy of art realm, again, depending on your worldview. Now, if you're a theistic person, then you would say, well, this is God's artwork, and this is, that kind of thing. So that depends on your worldview, how you look at it. All right, let's look at Dutton's. I named him wrongly. I called him somebody else a while ago. Let's look at Dennis Dutton's 7 universal signatures in aesthetics. And he's really focusing in on that philosophy of art concept. All right, he's really talking about art aesthetics, not because of the definitions that we see. We're pretty much tied to our traditional view of philosophy of art, not talking about nature and things like that. Okay, one of the signatures, he says, expertise or virtuosity, technical artistic skills are cultivated, recognized, and admired. All right, it's art, and as such, we are going to recognize and admire the skills. All right, like I talked about earlier, you might look at a painter and look at his early works and then look at his latter works, and well, you can say, hey, he got sloppy here because he's better than that, like he was talking about. You can go that way. I haven't thought about it that way, but you could actually judge the later work by saying, he's capable of a lot more than this. He got lazy here or whatever, So you could judge in that way, or say within a context of other people, comparing, Van Gogh to, Picasso or whatever. You could compare the difference of expertise. Okay, non-utilitarian pleasure. Okay, people enjoy art for art's sake and don't demand that it keeps them warm or puts food on the table. Now, this is important because, like I talked about a while ago, I wouldn't be qualified to judge the Mona Lisa, even though I'm sure I would find it beautiful and all that. I'd be looking at it going, man, if I owned that, I'd be living it up, okay? Because, I wouldn't be necessarily looking at it for art's sake. Although that is the proper aesthetic attitude we should bring to these things, according to many, that we should put aside the monetary values and all this thing, things that involve anything other than art for art's sake, because that's not the proper way to look at art. Style is another thing. Artistic objects and performances satisfy rules of composition that place them in a recognizable style. You've got styles, you've got genres, you've got these kind of things that we can categorize. And that makes it more. It gives us more ability to be able to judge and criticize things when they're within a certain style category, right? Okay, which brings us to criticism. People make a point of judging, appreciating, and interpreting works of art. That's what people do. when they say this is art, well, what's the first thing that you think? Well, but is it good art? Is it, does it fit the style of this or that? Is it something that is valuable? And if so, how valuable is it? These are all parts of criticism of the art. Okay? These are all, and again, these are all under that signatures that Dutton is proposing, that these things, when you're judging art, it's going to fit all these criteria. Okay? That's a way of saying this is, it's art when it fits all these criteria. Okay, imitation. Now, we're going to see some opinions that differ about this one. But imitation, works of art simulate experiences of the world. Okay, exceptions being music and abstract painting. Well, if you have exceptions to it, then how do you call that a universal? That's one question to ask. And art nowadays, there is a theory that we're going to look at toward the end of this section that's going to challenge if, in our day and age, if that is really the appropriate way to look at what we call art. Is that how people are really defining what art is? Is it really an imitation? Okay, special focus. Art is set aside from ordinary life and is made a dramatic focus of some particular experience. So when you look at a painting, it is focusing on something, right? When you make a sculpture, you're focused on something, some particular aspect of the world. Obviously, you're going to have to be, because you can't paint a picture of the entire, well, you could paint a picture of the world as a globe, but even that would be something set aside in particular. Okay, imagination, of course. Artists and their audiences both entertain hypothetical worlds in the theater of the imagination. All right, so we're all imagining. When you look at a piece of artwork, you're thinking about what was the author, what was the painter thinking when he created this? What was the context? What was, outside of the margins, what did the world look like? If it's an actual painting of something that maybe happened. We all raise the question of what the truth about Mona Lisa is. How did it come about? So, you have this world of, wow, she was probably considered this beautiful woman who maybe she was engaged, and maybe, her dad wanted to send this portrait to somebody. We don't really know exactly all what happened there. But just looking at it as art for art's sake, we might begin to imagine all the other hypothetical situations. How rich was she? Or, we entertain these kind of thoughts outside of the work itself. Okay? So our imagination, both the author, or in this case, the painter, and the perceiver of the art, are both entertaining these